Welcome to the Simple Fix. Today in our neutral spine series, we're going to be talking about tabletop, otherwise known as dead bug, a very common exercise that you're surely seeing within your Pilates classes, within your rehab sessions, at your physio, and possibly even in some of your strength classes. Today I want to talk about what the purpose of that exercise is. I would like to debunk some common cues that are possibly not super well understood and ensure that you have a good understanding of what you're trying to achieve in this exercise. Now, as we've covered before, we are trying to maintain a strong core surrounding a neutral spine. So Benita over here is lying down and she is in her neutral spine. She has a heavy base of the head, connection to the floor through the back of the mid-rib cage, and connection through the tailbone. Now, if that doesn't really make sense to you, pop back to our neutral spine explained video so that you can understand those three anchors. So she's found that neutral spine and everything else is totally relaxed. She's lying on her back, nothing needs to be tense. Now, what the tabletop exercise is designed to do is load the core, challenge the neutral spine against the weight of the legs. The legs are heavy. Okay, doesn't matter what your size is, doesn't matter what you weigh, your legs are heavy. They are a long limb with a lot of muscle tissue and heavy long bones. So when you're lying on the floor and you try and lift those legs, there is going to be challenge through the midsection, through the core. So if we have a look at this, we've got Benita in her tabletop position. Okay, and the first thing I want you to notice is that as the leg comes up, the spine should not be affected. Now, if you are struggling with tightness around the glute or lower back, or you have an overactive quad or really tight hip flexors, you might find your spine starting to flatten as soon as you lift this leg up. Now, that is not a good place to start from. To start a successful tabletop or dead bug exercise, you want to make sure that your legs can come up and your spine can stay neutral. If we are not starting from neutral, we have a problem. So let's talk about how you typically get into this. Usually you'll be lying on your back and the instructor will tell you to brace your core or drop your belly button or connect your ribs, which is quite a good cue. But they will cue something to happen in these abdominals before you lift your leg. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad cue. It's absolutely correct. But let's understand exactly what needs to happen. Your activity, your bracing through the core, only needs to be enough to maintain the shape of the spine, not to change it. So what happens is some of us pulling that belly so much that we flatten that spine down into the floor before we've even lifted up the leg. So we've lost our neutral spine before we've begun. So we've created a bit of bracing in that torso, in that midsection. We've dropped the belly button in a little bit. We have secured the ribs. When we lift the leg, we then see no change in shape of the spine. Fantastic. Now, many people will set up the tabletop to be knee on top of hip and foot in line with your knee. Now, I'm not saying that that is a bad cue or a bad thing to aim for, but what I am saying is it really doesn't have to be so exact. I like to cue a lazy tabletop, meaning the knee comes a little bit further up, okay? And you are, possibly not working as hard through the quad to keep the leg there. The moment we have that angle, we have a little bit less gravity, we're a little bit more comfortable. That is fine. Remember, your legs need to facilitate your neutral spine. So now in our neutral spine and we're in our tabletop position. And the next thing that's going to be cued is the movement through that leg. Okay, so either it's going to be a toe tap motion, or it's going to be an extension motion, or it's going to be a straight leg drop motion. Whatever your instructor is cueing doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're cueing the arms to move. The whole purpose is, can I move my limbs and not change shape here? Let's look at some real life examples. pitch. You are heavy. That was on the wrong way around. Okay, so lying down, I'm going to take a second to find that neutral spine. And I really want you to start thinking about your spine itself and not worrying about the soft tissue on top. Because if you asked me right now to find a flat tummy, because I have a tummy, okay, if I try and flatten it into me, I'm going to end up pushing my lower back into the floor, curling into my glutes. Where's my neutral spine? Okay, so I want to stay in my neutral and get as comfortable as possible there, thinking about my anchors, back of the head, back of the ribs, and back of the tailbone, nice and heavy. Now, once I've got those three anchors, okay, I'm going to think about a little bit of activation here, just enough to make sure that as I lift this leg, okay, I'm not pulling into an arch with my spine. So a little bit of activation here to lift my leg. Now see how I bring that knee a little bit closer. Okay, this setup, this strict 90-90 is a lot of work for this quad. If you are watching this video, the chances are you have an overactive quad already. Let's not upset that anymore. Let's bring that knee in a little bit. You can even drop the foot. My leg is still up. It's not as prettily choreographed. It doesn't matter. Functionally, my leg is up and my spine is neutral. I'm then going to take a second, just feel that neutral spine stay stable as I join my second leg. Now I've got my tabletop. Maybe it's a little bit more placed. Maybe it's nice and lazy. Okay, what matters is my spine is still in its neutral position. I'm going to lift my arms just so that you can see my spine a bit better. Now I'm going to start to move my legs. And the whole goal is to be able to move my legs without moving my spine. Now you might be doing things like this, dropping a leg and bringing it in, extending a leg and bringing it in. And the cue you will hear is the lower you go with the leg, the harder it is. Why is that? It's because the lower I go with the leg, the more gravity pull is on the leg, the heavier the leg is, the further away the foot is from the midsection, which means the more challenge there is against my neutral spine. So that is why that increases. Now, the moment I extend my leg down, but I can't control and I pull into that arch, I have lost my neutral. I've defeated the purpose of the exercise. However, similarly so, if the only way for me to control extending my leg out is to shove my lower back into the floor and over brace like that, I have also totally lost the plot. Look at what happened to my neck. Look at what's happened to my torso. Listen to what's happened to my voice. This is not somewhere you want to be working towards being, okay? You want to be training the way you live. You want to be training towards a safe, neutral spine. So get yourself into your tabletop and decide what is realistic for me today, okay? Let's start with those lazy toe taps. Okay, great, they're feeling cool. When I explore my single leg extensions, I am always focused on my spine, on my head, my ribs, and my tailbone staying anchored. And yes, possibly I will then get to the point where I can extend both my legs without affecting my spine. But the only reason I'd be going for double legs is because I'm really ready for that additional challenge. Your tabletop and dead bug exercises are immensely effective and good to do for back pain, hip pain, postural alignment, all of these things. But they are only effective if you understand the purpose. If you understand that the goal from start to finish is to find and maintain that neutral spine. The moment you take a move that takes you out of that neutral spine, you've lost the purpose of the exercise and you are training bad habits. I hope this video has helped you understand the purpose of these exercises that you see in common programs in all classes and conditioning practices. My name is Kerryn and I am the founder of Keza Wellness, The Simple Fix, here to help you understand your body, movement, and how to effectively live pain-free. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow for more on the neutral spine and the body in general.